Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I missed talking to you all yesterday. I am having to drive a rental for a while because of that wreck I mentioned. Our car's in the shop, and the rental doesn't have the nifty little phone stand. Told my phone while I'm doing this anyway. It's a long story, but I did miss you, and I hope you're all doing well. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the way that we look at ourselves. Yesterday, a student jokingly paid me a compliment. Like it was all in good humor. And talked about my flawless, wrinkleless skin. I thought it was funny. Like, I have no illusions about anything like that. So I actually laughed. And then I said, I know you're not telling the truth, because that one's clearly not accurate. Okay, that's not a huge deal. We're leaving that aside, but it got me thinking. Like many people, I don't really like my appearance. It's very painful when I see myself, in the mirror. If I'm in like a slideshow at school or something, like yesterday I was, and I saw myself and I just started thinking, ugh, oh my gosh, that's so bad. I'm so, my weight's terrible. My nose is hooked and looks like a beak. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I can tear myself down in seconds. And the thing is I'm not even being overly harsh, I don't think. I mean, I am. My weight is a problem, although I'm down by about 15 pounds. And still going. And my nose does look like a beak, and I do have a couple chins. I mean, that's the reality. I don't feel bad about it. But what I'm interested by is how easy it is for me to go to the negative about myself. I can do the same thing with, traits that are not merely physical. I can do that with, well, I do this, or I do that, or I don't do enough of this, or I do too much of that. I'm not as this as I'd like to be. I'm not as patient. I wish I didn't get grumpy. I wish this, that. And again, all of these things are essentially true. The negatives I see about myself are I think not inaccurate. They're true. I suspect I'm probably a little harder on myself than someone else might be, but I don't think I'm making stuff up. However, you might think then that if I can be so objective and matter of fact about my faults and quirks and perceived deficits and deficiencies and that sort of thing, you'd think I could do the same about my more positive attributes, because all of us have positive attributes, right? I mean, it's impossible that we don't have any. And maybe it's just me, but I don't think so. I think that all of us, or most of us at least, really struggle to give the same weight and the same presence of mind to our virtues as we do to our flaws and deficiencies. So I'm not everything I'd like to be, but you know what? I make an intense, ongoing, consistent effort to be kind to people. And I really do. And because I make that effort, I execute it fairly well. Not always, not 100%. I'm not perfect, but my effort is real and it's sincere, and it is like one of the most serious areas of focus in my life. I hold myself to an incredibly high standard, and I often meet it. I often meet that standard. I certainly get better and better at it. But I don't give that the same amount of weight when I'm judging myself. I don't give that the same weight in terms of assessing or drawing conclusions from it. There's a lot of times I've done things that are actually pretty good, and I have the notes and letters to prove it, but I don't really count those. So if one day I'm not at my best, and maybe I'm impatient and grumpy, I weigh that with like a factor of 10. Like, that's huge. But then the fact that earlier, or the day before, I was particularly patient and kind, I give that like a factor of 1 if I even think about it at all. So the point is, the challenge is this. We all have our flaws and weaknesses. I think we are almost always inherently too tough on ourselves in many regards. I certainly am one of my harshest critics, for sure. I think sometimes, though, being aware of our flaws is good, because I really think happiness and self-actualization happens in life when you are able to be as aligned with your values as you can. When you're able to act independently based on what you choose to do, based on a guiding set of principles or values, I really believe that's power, and that's happiness, and that's fulfillment and meaning. So it's good to be aware of our faults and to be trying to address them, but we need to give at least equal weight to our virtues and to the good things we do. The times we try, frankly, even if we don't succeed, but the fact that we tried matters. We need to give a lot of weight to the times we succeed. We need to be actively and consciously looking at the good that we do. It's really critical to our well-being, to our mental health, and I honestly don't think we can address our weaknesses and our flaws if we can't also see that we're a basically good person who's trying to do and be good, trying to do the right thing. So this is one of those interesting areas in life where having kind of competing goals actually can be, or competing imperatives can really help us develop. So essentially, here's my challenge today. For the next week or so, just maybe jot down each day the things you do well. Jot down the things you like about your appearance. Jot down the good efforts you make. And just be at least as conscious of them as you are of your flaws and the things you don't like about yourself. They need at least equal weight. I'm actually going to suggest, however, that our choices to try to improve and to try to hold ourselves to a high standard actually deserve more credit. I don't believe it's just a one-to-one. And here's why. If by nature I am grumpy and snappish and irritable, and I make choices to actively push against my nature, then I think my efforts actually are more, deserve more weight than just simply giving it to my nature. Because one takes literally no effort, it's just whatever, my genes or my environment or like whatever. The other is an act, it's a conscious choice, it's an act of faith, it's an act of will, it's an act of moral reasoning, and it's not easy to do. The degree of difficulty is far, far greater. So give yourself at least equal credit for the good things you do. Preferably maybe give yourself more than equal credit. But write things down when you do things that are good. Every effort counts, everything you do. And give yourself a little credit for you, for who you are, because the truth is you are wonderful. You are unique, and you're uniquely wonderful. And you have an important work to do. You have important contributions to make wherever you are and whoever you are. You are valued and you are valuable. You are loved and you are lovable. So please remember that there's lots of good things. And if you can't see those, then maybe you need to talk to a friend or a mentor, maybe someone else if you need. Anyway, sending you a lot of love today. And I just hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. So much love, your Internet Grandpa.